Okay, hi guys. So we're gonna do a little Mandela effect video, something I haven't done before, as far as I remember. I think I've only done posts and VMs on Mandela effect, but this is an interesting one. This is not a new one. Anybody who's very familiar with the Mandela effect will be aware of this, but I think that there are a number of people who probably are aware of the Mandela effect, didn't know about this one, but I saw it recently because I was listening to Matt on Quantum of Conscious, and he started talking about I can't even remember the context now, but he was talking about a comic book, and he mentioned that Uncle Sam was featured in this comic book as a comic book character, and whatever he was talking about had nothing to do with this, but then, of course, my Spurg reactor completely went off the charts, my Spurg alarm, and I realized that, oh, this is the Mandela affected, this is the old version before the Mandela effect of Uncle Sam, the version that I always remember, and that most people that I'm aware of also remember. And as you can notice, I've started on just the basic Google page now because I don't want to taint your memory. I don't want to be accused of inserting anything that didn't exist before. So I'm just going to ask you a question before I begin this. The iconic avuncular figure, literally avuncular, the Uncle Sam character, who was used in 1917 as a character to recruit for the U.S. Army so that the U.S. could get new, young, fighting age white males to go over to Europe in the meat grinder there to be slaughtered for their blood sacrifice to their satanic gods. What did that Uncle Sam look like? Do you remember his depiction? Get Uncle Sam in your mind, and I'm talking about the traditional depiction from the poster that says "I want you" for the U.S. Army. I want you in big block letters, and he's pointing his finger, and he's wearing a hat. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? So please get that picture in your mind. What does the hat look like? What does Uncle Sam look like wearing the hat? You don't have to remember perfectly every single thing that he's wearing, but you'll basically remember pretty much what the hat looks like. I remember when this was first sprung on me, I knew exactly what the hat looked like. I had the description that I could relate. I could say exactly what it looked like, and if someone was going to draw a picture from scratch, they would be able to draw that picture, and it would look just like this. Okay, so you got the picture in your mind. If you're like me, and if you're like most people, you would say that his hat had a blue stripe with white stars, and then the top of the top hat, it was a traditional top hat, like the kind of black top hats you see in older depictions of the stovepipe hats, right? Like an Abe Lincoln type hat. And the rest of the hat is white, and then the top of the hat had red stripes. And it was a depiction of the American flag on the hat. And if that's the hat that you remember, you would be wrong, because that hat has never existed. On that famous poster, the I Want You 1917 poster, encouraging young white males to go sacrifice themselves to Moloch, the hat has always looked like this. This is what Uncle Sam looks like now. And I don't know about you, but if it's the first time that you are looking at this depiction, you might find it a little bit jarring. I never saw a hat that looked like this, that had this white up at the top, right here. In my memory, it always had red stripes going up and down, up and down, up and down, just like this. Of course, everything else in the picture was, as you remember, you would have the red, white, and blue because he's a patriotic figure. He's a symbol of America. If you'll notice, his initials are the same initials as the United States, U.S., and there's some things on the original Wikipedia description of what this guy's supposed to be. Of course, originally Uncle Sam, he is ended up existing. His origins are prior to this 1917 poster, but keep in mind, for the purpose of this short exercise, we are only focusing upon this poster. I'm not talking about any other depiction of him, because you guys won't be able to think of any other depiction of him except for this one, because this is the quintessential depiction of Uncle Sam that all of us are familiar with. When you think of Uncle Sam, you think of him pointing his big bony finger at your chest and telling you that you need to go die for the U.S. government as well as fill its tax coffers. And this is the guy we all remember, but I do believe that very few of us remember this white hat here. And I'm just going to jump through a few images now. We'll go through some residue. And the first thing I said was this depiction of Uncle Sam in this National Comics. And apparently this was a pretty famous character, and it was a pretty famous comic, and they were, I'm not sure if this is the same one, but as you can see, Captain America is also somewhat fashioned around the same sort of symbolic American flag scheme that Uncle Sam is. And he even says here, "Take that, you shield-slinging traitor. I'm the symbol of America." And apparently, though, the DC Comics writers, who are very, what's the word? They had very keen attention to detail. They got everything else right in the depiction. Okay, I'll give it. They got the blue bow tie wrong, but they did get the hat the way that I remember. And it does seem to match Captain America's attire. If you'll notice, this is a common theme in these comics, is he's got the red stripes on the hat. Red stripes on the hat. Red stripes on the hat. This is probably the original depiction, if not one of the earliest depictions. Again, he's got the red stripes on the hat. Red stripes on the hat. Red stripes on the hat. Here it even has his name with the red stripes in the name. Right here. Uncle Sam. You can see depiction after depiction of this character who has a hat the way that we all remember. This one's even more recent, actually. You can see. Again, red stripes. It's just, over and over and over again. And every once in a while you'll find one of these that's got the white hat, but the vast majority now, here's the original, but the vast majority, I guess all of these guys must have fallen for the Mandela psyop, and maybe they're all in on it. Maybe all of these comic book artists are in on the Mandela psyop just so that we could be tricked. So today we could start spiraling about how Uncle Sam's hat always had these red stripes that all of us remember, and in all of these depictions, in all of these comic books, he's always had these red stripes. In the overwhelming majority, you can see it's over 90% that he's got the red stripe. Just keep scrolling down. He's got the red stripes on the hat, and but we're all just misremembering, and I guess we just got that mixed up, didn't we, because of all these comic books. And here's this thing you need to remember about the Mandela effect, is your first memory is going to be the most reliable memory, and if your first memory is the same as everyone else's first memory, and brother, I tell you what, when you start asking people about Uncle Sam's hat, you're not going to find too many people who've looked into it recently who are going to tell you that he had a white stovepipe hat. They're going to say he had a hat that reflected the American flag. It had the stripes. It had these stars. Blue bar, white stars, red and white stripes, just like the American flag. This looks weird. This just looks strange to me. It looks very strange to me. These are all newer. These are all brand new sort of comic books that were created far more recently. Don't ask me why, but that reminds me of a particular event in 2001. But may have absolutely nothing to do with that. And so let's just keep on going. We won't keep this too much longer. But look at this. When he's fighting the Nazis, he had the red stripes. But That's just us falling for that psyop, right? So if you look at Google now Google is notorious for whitewashing these things, quite literally in this case. And so Google's going to give you a lot of the depictions that we remember. And also, if you take the Mandela effect and remember the way that it works, the original depiction and any official depiction, so something that's very close in order. So this is the official depiction. This is the same picture and things similar to it. Or if it's a company, if anything that's branded will change along with it. But things that are artists' renditions that have been done by somebody else, well, those things won't change. And here's an interesting thing, a little here. This is the exact same picture, you notice, and somebody made a zombie movie starring your favorite uncle, Uncle US here. And as you notice, it's the exact same depiction and the exact same clothing. They seem to get everything else right here. They've got the beard correct. They got the tie color correct. They've got the way that the finger is pointing correct. Everything is correct. It almost looks as if they were looking at the original picture when they drew the picture to make sure that they got everything accurate, because they were going to make a whole movie and then they were going to make these DVD covers, or sorry, Blu-ray covers, and they were going to distribute them to who knows how many thousands of people. And you would think if the producer of this movie kind of saw the artwork, and probably, I'm going to guess, if you watch this movie, I haven't seen this movie, it doesn't look quite like the kind of caliber of horror movie that I would watch, but you never know, might be really good. I'm going to guess that this guy is wearing a hat with stripes in the movie, but you would think, I mean, I can see it does look like a B or C movie, but at least they're going to get the outfit right, you know. I mean, they don't have a really big budget, so they're going to do what they can to make sure that at least the costume is correct. You're not going to get this massive inaccuracy and get the hat wrong. This is one of the most important parts of his outfit. I mean, if he wasn't wearing a hat, you look at this original picture, well, there really wouldn't be much too iconic about him, would there? It'd just be a guy wearing a suit. A little bit outdated, but it's just a guy wearing a suit. Looks like a southern suit, but it's just a suit. It's the hat that actually makes the poster and the image memorable. But this guy just got it wrong. And I can't see that. No, well, look there. Here's somebody else got it wrong. I don't know what this is, but it's got the stripes. And here's another. I won't get to that yet. Now, why not? Why not just get to? Here's two different depictions. Let's just get. I'm gonna jump ahead, but do you notice here? Here's another thing: is costumes. If I look up Uncle Sam costumes, you would expect, since this is the original poster of Uncle Sam, that most of the costumes are going to include this hat, which is the original hat. It would be a reflection of the original hat that was on the original poster, because, again, all of these extra drawings here, and as I said, Google is going to whitewash a lot of them. It's gonna update a lot of them, but most of them would reflect, you would think, right? It would reflect the, especially a costume. You want to get the costume correct. Just like if you look up C-3PO, for some reason most of the costumes do not come with a silver leg. They're going to get this hat right. But if I look up costumes of Uncle Sam, whoa. Well, that's weird. Look at all these costumes. I mean, isn't it just strange that all of these costumes made the exact same mistake that all of us also made? That almost every single costume, granted there's one that doesn't, but I mean, look at the vast majority of these costumes. He's got the red stripes on the white hat. Red stripes, I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And at some point you have to ask yourself, let's say you completely don't believe in the Mandela effect at all. You have to at least ask yourself, what the fuck is going on here that everybody remembers these fucking red stripes on a hat when the red stripes never, existed in the original image that all of us remember. Why is everyone making the exact same mistake? Very strange. I think I've made my point, but I've got a few other things that we can go through here. The comics I was gonna go through, but who cares? But isn't it funny? This is what Wikipedia will do too. Wikipedia does the same thing that Google does. So if I type in Uncle Sam comic for Wikipedia, the thumbnail image that I'm given is this. As you can see, it's the white hat. But of course, the first comic from September 1940 has the red stripes, even though the figure that we all know as Uncle Sam, who wears this outfit, the iconic figure from the 1917 poster, never had these stripes on his hat, on his stovepipe hat, in this reality. If I go back to the comic book Uncle Sam, you'll notice red stripes, red stripes, red stripes. I'm looking at the old ones. Let's see, not the new ones, the original ones. The original ones. Red stripes, red stripes, red stripes, red stripes, red stripes. These are new. Again, new has been updated with the new reality. The older ones, not even as old. I don't believe this is that old. How old is this one? Is there a date? I don't know what the date is, but I mean this looks more fairly new. But for some reason, these comic book artists, they can get exactly what the Capitol building looks like with the ionic pillars and everything, but they mess up the hat. Totally wrong. Never looked like this. It was always white. Why are they getting it wrong? Red stripes, red stripes, red stripes, red stripes, red stripes. Okay? I mean, you guys tell me. Wait, am I the crazy person? Am I the crazy Mandela guy? Oh, Skull. That Mandela psyop that he fell for. He gets everything else right, but man, he gets that Mandela thing wrong. He has no idea what's happening with Mandela effect. There's nothing to see here with the red stripes that everybody remembers existing in this picture. I'll go through a couple other things. I mean, what's this guy doing? What is he doing? Doesn't he know that the picture right behind him has a completely different hat than he's wearing? Why is he wearing a hat with these red stripes on it? That just doesn't make any sense. Standing right next to an American flag, standing right in front of a poster that is the original depiction of Uncle Sam, and he's got the hat wrong. This gentleman here who's doing the pose. And again, if this gentleman was not wearing this hat, well, he'd just be an old gentleman wearing a suit. Just the same as this guy. If he wasn't wearing this hat, he'd just be an old Southern guy in a suit. But it's the hat that makes the iconic image. Uncle Sam wants you to go die for Franz Ferdinand. Or, not Franz Ferdinand. Who was the guy? I forget. The guy that Principe, Austro-Hungarian guy, bombed. Whatever that guy's name was. I think Franz Ferdinand was the Spanish one. I don't even remember. I don't care. This is not about the World War I other psyop. World War I has the car that Gavrilo Princip bombed with the Austro-Hungarian dictator guy, whatever his name was. It codes the final end date of World War I. It's like, what is it? I'll look it up real quick just because it's fun. This won't be too much of an aside. Check this out. So, hold on. Let me see. What is it? World. I can't spell license plate. World War I license plate. And if you look at the car, it was Archduke Franz Ferdinand was right. These things all get all mixed up in my head. So if you look at the license plate, it's Armistice, and then it's what is it? 11. What is it? Hold on. Yeah, this is it. The A was Armistice, and A, and then there's 3 1s, and then there's 1118, and it's let me see if I can find it real quick. Oh, these websites are the worst. November 11th, so 1111, and then 1918. Armistice 11/11/18. A 11/11/18 is the date that the war ended. World War I ended, but we're just crazy people for noticing these things, right? Armistice 11, 2 1s, and then one more 1, 11, and then 18. Armistice 11, November 11, 1918. And sure, that's just a coinky-dink. Just an accident. And then now it's in this museum. They threw a bomb, and the guy threw a bomb, and he tried to kill the Austro-Hungarian emperor first, or whatever he is, king, or whatever he is first. I have a picture. That's goofy. And then he missed, and then he went and had a sandwich, and then the guy kept driving around, even though they knew somebody was trying to assassinate him. And then he got a second chance, and then he threw a grenade and killed the guy. It's so stupid. Alright. Is there anything else? I think there was just one or two more things I was going to show you. When I look up Ankuru Samu in Japanese, I just did it for shits and giggles. There's a bunch of these red stripes ones even. So, red stripes. Of course, there's going to be a lot more of these because Google likes to whitewash it. So, last thing. Oh yeah. Okay. Here's one more thing. Let me see. Well, anyway, it's the Wikipedia. Oh, almost turned off. So Wikipedia has the memorial of Samuel Wilson, who's allegedly the guy that Uncle Sam was fashioned after. So this is Samuel Wilson, and yes, he has a stovepipe hat here, and he's wearing a regular suit type thing. However, what you need to understand is this is not him in character. This is the actual Samuel Wilson, the person. And then they show this photograph of his memorial. But damn, it's hard to see this, isn't it? This is the memorial that shows Uncle Sam, and then this is him, the real person, standing in front of it with his stovepipe hat. And I find it very interesting that Wikipedia. Oh yeah, I'll go over this too. Wikipedia is the Wikipedia is just really small for Uncle Sam. You would think that'd be quite a bit longer than this, right? Usually it has a very long one, but the one picture it shows of the memorial, it shows him. It doesn't show his character. It shows this guy. But the actual picture, check this out. Here's a picture of the memorial that's more bright. And you can see, in honor of Samuel Wilson, a native son born near this site on September 10th, I think that's in 1766, he became our national symbol, Uncle Sam. Okay, now check this out. Well, looky there. That is not a plain... Okay, you can see right here. If they want to make a plain, non-patterned top hat, they can do it because they did it right here. This would be a typical stovepipe hat. It probably would have been black. And yet here they managed to put the stars in. I know it's not super clear, but I mean you can take a look. Or you can take a look. I'm trying to make it big for you guys. Okay, sorry. If you really want, I share the image with you some other time. But these are stripes. It's very clear. These are stripes, and those are stars. So for some reason, they painted the stripes on his hat in the memorial to the guy, too. And last thing I'll just take you through is I found a Reddit post about it, and it says, Uncle Sam's hat turned white. No red stripes. This YouTube video doesn't work, of course. Imagine my shock. I mean, if I watch, this happens. Video unavailable. So this video is private. I mean, it's not taken down, but why is it private? So, okay, I'll just real quick. There's people talking about, yeah, he had stripes in the hat. But, okay, so I just found this interesting. So, here's the English Wikipedia that at the time, this was 3 years ago. It is It is this image more than any other that has influenced the modern appearance of Uncle Sam, an elderly white man with white hair and a goatee wearing a white top hat. Okay, that's what the updated new reality version of Uncle Sam is. That's the English Wikipedia. We would expect that to say such a thing, but check this out. In the Polish Wikipedia, apparently it hadn't been updated at that point. And so they got the Polish right here. I'm not going to try and read that. But the person was kind enough to translate, and here's what it says. He usually wears clothes that contain elements and colors on the United States flag. Now again, if we go here and we look here and you take away the red stripes, I mean, okay, yeah, I'll give it that. It does have the colors of the United States flag, but it does not have stripes like the United States flag. Now let's go back here real quick. And it says elements and colors. I mean, okay, that could be argued, but just keep reading. For example, a cylinder, that would refer to the hat with red and white stripes. Now again, there are no stripes in the original depiction of Uncle Sam any longer. It's now weird fucking white hat. That's not all. The Polish Wikipedia was not updated, but here we scroll down a bit and we find that the Hungarian Wikipedia also says, I'm not going to try and read that, Uncle Sam is always depicted as a tall, elderly gentleman. His dress includes the indispensable hat, because if he didn't have a hat, it really is indispensable. He would just be wearing a suit. Colored with the American national colors. Wait a minute. How's that right? The red, white, and blue coat and the striped trouser. Okay, the hat is colored with the American national colors, but if you'll notice, it's missing one of the American national colors. Red and white are, I mean, yes, they are indeed the American national colors, but the American national colors, by any normal description, would include red, not just white and blue. I misspoke just now. White and blue are not enough to encompass the American national colors. Red, white, and blue would be the national colors. Yeah, and then this person says the same thing. It doesn't directly mention the red stripes, but white and blue alone do not immediately remind me of the national colors of America. It should have red too. I mean, nobody who just said white and blue would think that's American colors. That's retarded. Red, white, and blue are the American colors. Everyone knows that. I mean, retarded people know that. And again, we are not done. Let me see. Which one was it? I thought there was one more. The Czech. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is it. So there's one more. So you had the Polish here, and then somebody said the Hungarian here, and then in the Czech also, I could almost read that, but I'm not going to embarrass myself. Typical top hat with red and white stripes. Typical top hat. So everyone remembers the typical. Typical means type, means the form of the Uncle Sam top hat had, of course, red and white stripes. Okay, I mean, Skull's a moron. He fell for the Mandela psyop, just like this guy, who's standing right in front of the poster, which has turned white, oblivious to the fact that his hat is completely wrong, and apparently the photographer also, who's framing the photo, must have missed that fact as well, and so did all of us who have a memory of these red and white stripes. Last thing I'll say, I'll go back to the Wikipedia, the very last thing I'll say, is it was saying that the earliest known personification of the United States was a woman named Columbia, and isn't it interesting that they include this picture of her wearing a hat that looks suspiciously like the hat that we remember. Now, it would be strange to put Columbia, the weird pagan goddess that for some reason is representative of America, because the founding fathers all worshipped fallen angels. That's neither here nor there. Her hat, it's not a top hat, but it's looks like a nightcap or something. So, something that matches this outfit that she's wearing, and it has red and white stripes. It is not white. It has red and white stripes on top of a blue background with stars. So yeah, we're all falling for the psyop, and We just have bad memories, I guess, right? All right. Yeah, you guys take care.